when we make decisions, it is very often that we find ourselves thinking about what our friends or family would do in that situation. And this is a big testament to the understanding that the environment that we're in shapes the person we become and either allows us to be or limits our success. And when we take a look at these five, and I'd argue it's not the five closest people, it's the five people who, in those moments where you're thinking, what should I do? You think of them, of what they would do. So it's not necessarily like your five closest people, but the five people that you look up to most and that you make decisions based off of what you think their plan of action would be, or what you think they would judge you or not judge you for. And it's often that those people aren't always the best people to look up after. And we catch ourselves. I mean, one of the big indicators of whether someone is successful or not is largely the zip code that they grew up in or the area they grew up in. And the reason is because oftentimes if you're in a not so great area and there are people that you look up to who aren't the type of person that becomes successful, you're starting behind of someone who's living in an area that's filled with people who are successful. And now I'm not just talking like monetarily, like billionaires, like you don't have to be growing up around billionaires, but people who understand that what it takes to become successful or to become passionate. Like if you're in a city of people who don't have jobs or don't pursue their passions or don't do anything to grow themselves in life, you are probably going to turn out like them. Now, there are obviously exceptions and there are obviously things to do around that, to get around that. And the two that I found most powerful is one, finding a mentor who either you find or they come to you and they become that tunnel vision to get you out of that environment. And number two is just having such tenacity and grit and a vision of what you want to achieve. Like you hear these crazy stories about how whether it's like NBA stars or successful business owners or soccer players or football players that came from nothing and just with the vision and the pure dedication to their art were able to become successful and to achieve great heights despite the fact that they were born into a not so great environment. Now, these are outliers, but there is something we can take from them to understand that although the environment you're born in has a lot to do with how you turn out, it's not the deciding factor. You are the deciding factor. Whether you allow that environment to suppress you or you actively find ways to surpass those boundaries set by whatever zip code, whatever family, whatever friend group, whatever school that you're born into and that you grow up around. We talk a lot about things that you're incapable of doing or not in control of. And I find that that takes a lot of power away from us and our ability to change our lives. And it's unfair to think that you have no choice in the matter of what your future lies. Because in reality, you do. And you always will. And if anyone tells you that you don't and limits you to whatever demographic, whatever part of society you grew up in or you are around, those are meant to be limiters. Because at the end of the day, there's only a small percentage of people who succeed. And that small percentage is used to discourage the other, whatever you want to call it, percentage, 90%, 99%, that don't end up succeeding, or at least not succeeding to a point where they have no more worries in life. Maybe not like that, but like no worries of living a difficult life in terms of survival. Obviously, more money, more problems. Like having money doesn't take away problems. It just adds leverage for you to deal with those problems. So if your family member is sick, you have the means to pay for them, versus when you don't have that money, you're just stuck. You're stuck in a life that expects you to say, oh, well, I wasn't born rich, so there's nothing I can do except go back to my 9 to 5. Don't believe in that, because the people who do, they might judge you. They might tell you, ain't nothing you can do. You were born in this way and you're never going to get out of it. But at the end of the day, as long as you keep going, you keep striving to become better and to become a successful person, whatever that means to you, you will reach that. You'll either die or you'll reach that. And I'm betting on you probably will reach that before you die. Because although it may take a decade, 2 decades to get to that point, once you do, everything becomes worth it. All the sacrifices you made, all the effort you put in a blink of an eye, figuratively, because it's going to take a lot longer than that. But it will become worth it. And you'll look back and you won't have a regret of saying, I wish I took that step further, and I wish I bettered myself, and I wish I didn't give in to the people who said, what are you even doing this for? Just go get your 9 to 5, go to get your college degree, get your 9 to 5, and live your life as everyone does. And if for some insane reason you stick to that for 20 years and you come out of the other side not being what others may call successful, now this might be me projecting, but I don't think I could sit 20 years from now, if I keep doing what I'm doing, and have any sort of regret. Even now, like in the past 3 years, I don't have a single regret of what I've done, because I know it's been pushing me forward and honestly just growing me as a person in general. Not even not even on the business aspect, but just me as a person. Doing these things that others would say definitely isn't the normal. Dropping out of college, pursuing what I want to do versus allowing my story to be written for me. It has allowed me to grow in a way that I never imagined possible. And I know that if this keeps happening for the next 20 years, I'll be a completely different person. I mean, I'll be the same person, but different understanding of the world. And that's something I would never regret chasing and going after and building towards. So I leave you with this. Close your eyes and think about who you are 20, 25 years from now. So if you're in your 20s, what does it look like when you're in your 40s or you're 50 years old? Do you have kids? Are you waking up? What are you going to do? Are you going to a job? Are you enjoying a nice cup of coffee, reading the magazine or whatever? They got the, some sort of projector screen from your from your eye contacts or something like that. But just think, you wake up, see your wife, see your husband, and then what do you do during that day? You go to work, you start a business, or you're working on your business, you putting your feet up and relaxing, going fishing that day. What is it that you see yourself doing? And then at the end of the day, when you go to sleep, what was it that you did, and what would you have wished you'd done when you were a kid, when you were in your 20s, when you were in college or out of college? What do you wish you would have done to live that life, or a life that's better than that? And then work backwards from there. That's all I got for you guys today. Peace.